Good afternoon, dear colleagues and dear guests. Today is the 10th of February 2021. It's 10 a.m. Moscow time. We're beginning this session for the defense of the dissertation by Murat Makenov. The thesis is submitted for the degree of a candidate of economic sciences. The topic of the dissertation is state regulation of socio-economic differentiation of Russian regions. Under the order of St. Petersburg State University, I, Yuri Kuznetsov, Doctor of Economic Sciences, Professor of St. Petersburg State University, have been appointed the chairperson of the Dissertation Council. The other members of the Dissertation Council have been appointed by the same order. They are Елена Korostashevskaya, Professor of St. Petersburg State University. She is here with us. Professor Malenkov, Doctor of Economic Sciences, St. Petersburg State University. Can you hear and see us? Yes, I can hear you and see you. Professor Elena Sharafanova, Doctor of Economic Sciences, St. Petersburg State Economic University. Can you hear and see us? Yes, she can. Professor Gauhar Koshebaeva, Doctor of Economic Sciences, Kurganda Technical University, Kazakhstan. Can you see us and hear us? Yes, I can see you and hear you. The degree seeker, Mr. Murat Makenov, has also joined the session via remote video conferencing. Can you hear and see us? Yes, I can. The research advisor is also here, Doctor of Economic Sciences, Professor Tatiana Bezdenishnych. I would like to ask the members of the Dissertation Council who are attending the session via video conferencing to switch off their microphones. Please make sure that your microphone is switched on when you are given the floor. The session of the Dissertation Council is being recorded and broadcast on the website of St. Petersburg State University. It is also being interpreted into English. You can ask your questions and make comments using the email address that you can find on the official web page of St. Petersburg State University. The questions are supposed to be relevant to the contents of the dissertation. The technical personnel will refer the questions to me and I will read them out during the discussion. I would like to stress again that the questions are supposed to be relevant to the contents of the dissertation. The authors of the questions are to write down their name, position and workplace. The questions that are not relevant to the dissertation will not be read out. Under the relevant order of St. Petersburg State University on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University, the session of the Dissertation Council is duly constituted, provided at least 2/3 of the members of the Dissertation Council are present. The total number is not to be fewer than 4 people. Therefore, we have a quorum. The agenda is as follows. Number 1, the chairman's presentation about the documents submitted by the degree seeker and their conformity with requirements. Number 2, the presentation given by the academic degree seeker, about 15 minutes. Questions to the academic degree seeker about the presentation, no more than 2 minutes for each question, and answers to the questions. Reviews of the dissertation. The council members will be taking the floor in turns. The chairman's review of the dissertation. About 10 minutes for each person. Comments about the reviews and answers to the questions. No more than 20 minutes. Open discussion. The floor will be given to the members of the audience. They can give a brief account of their ideas or ask questions. However, it is necessary to fill in the registration form and give their full name before the talk. Next, replies to the questions posed by the audience. Then the chairperson will read out the questions received via email, and the degree seeker will answer these questions. Next, presentation of the research supervisor and deliberations of the members of the Dissertation Council before an open balloting on conferring or non-conferring the academic degree, if need be. Open balloting, vote counting, and recording the results in the protocol, making a decision on whether to confer or not to confer the academic degree, and a closing speech. So this is our agenda for today. Do you have any questions or objections to our agenda? No? Now we'd like to proceed with the agenda. So the chairperson's presentation. Mr. Murat Makenov has written his dissertation in St. Petersburg State University. The research advisor is Professor Tatyana Безденежных. The academic degree seeker has published 3 papers. Two of them have been published in peer-reviewed journals recommended by the Ministry of Education and Science, and 1 paper have been published in the journals indexed in the Web of Science. The degree seeker has submitted a full set of documents to the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg State University, and the documents are in compliance with the requirements. The documents are stored in the dossier of the degree seeker. Do you have any questions about the documents submitted to the academic degree, to the Academic Council, or do you think I should read out the list of documents submitted to the Academic Council? No. The floor is given to Mr. Murat Makenov. Can you see the slides? Dear Chairperson, dear members of the Dissertation Board, the topic of my dissertation is state regulation of socio-economic differentiation of Russian regions. The degree submitted in conformity for the degree of the candidate of economic sciences. High level of differentiation of the regions is one of the key issues for the Russian economy. Interregional inequality is the driver for economic development, and this issue hampers the development of the economy of the Russian Federation. Moreover, it leads to more social tensions. The issue of economic inequality has been widely studied. There are quite a lot of papers on this issue. However, interregional differentiation is a really important issue for Russia. This is explained by the fact that there are no unified approaches to solving this problem. Therefore, it is necessary to develop new approaches and to develop new strategies of influence, of the state influence. It will allow us to decrease the level of economic differentiation. Moreover, it is necessary to come up with a typology and classification of different regions. This will allow us to improve the state policy in this area. The purpose of the dissertation is to develop recommendations for improving state regulation in order to resolve the issues of interregional socio-economic differentiation. The object of the study is social-economic differentiation of the regions. The subject of the study is social regulation. The following objectives are determined in accordance to the above purpose: to determine the nature and causes of social economic differentiation, to identify and justify methods for assessing interregional inequalities, to clarify the theoretical foundations of regional convergence, to determine the level of the socio-economic differentiation of Russian regions, as well as identify problems and factors affecting its dynamics, to develop recommendations on improving measures of the state policy for regional development to reduce the level of interregional socio-economic differentiation. The dissertation is also quite novel, and I would like to focus on the novelty of the dissertation. The dissertation clarifies the conceptual and terminological basis of the regional economy. I have developed a number of models of convergence of the subject of the Russian Federation. I have identified the key factors of the socio-economic development of the regions of Russia. I have developed a number of recommendations to improve the quality of public administration in Russia, including the one that reduces the level of interregional inequality. I also have developed a method of typologization of regions. The above-mentioned method can be used in order to improve regional policies, regional state policies. I have grouped all the regions in specific categories, and I have also provided some recommendations regarding the grouping some regions together. I have developed a composite index that allowed us to rank different regions of the Russian Federation. I have also identified the regions with the lowest socio-economic development, and these regions require more influence and more attention from central government. Now I would like to tell you a few words about the major research findings. It was necessary to develop effective recommendations. To this end, I have made a classification using the following indicators: gross regional product, gross regional product per capita, GRP per capita, average per capita income, fixed assets value per capita, and human development index. As a result, we can see a downward trend in terms of two indicators: average per capita income and a human development index. At the same time, there have been a steady growth in terms of such indicators as fixed assets value per capita and capital investment per capita. On this slide, you can see some statistical data which characterizes the differentiation of Russian regions. I compare the differentiation of Russian regions with similar regions in other countries such as Germany, India, Canada, China, and the United States. As can be seen from the slide, the indicators are a lot different from those of other countries. So social economic differentiation of Russian regions still high. Then I tested the hypothesis about the convergence of different regions of the Russian Federation. To this end, I analyzed the absolute beta conversion of Russian regions in terms of the gross regional product. The time period was between 2000 and 2016. As a result, we can say that the regression models are not reliable ones. Moreover, the rate of absolute beta conversion is quite low. Research papers state that the rate of absolute convergence must be equal or exceed 2% per year. Therefore, we cannot say that there is a convergence in terms of differentiation of Russian regions. So, to sum up, there's a high level of inequality and no convergence among the Russian regions. And this happens despite the fact that central government is trying to decrease social differentiation. Secondly, it is necessary to find specific areas of influence that might help us decrease the inequality among the regions. I also identified a number of issues that will help us to improve state policies. You can see the major issues on the slide. They are to improve this development of spatial development, inefficiency of local and state management, some inefficiencies in the tax system. Each of the issues mentioned above have a negative impact on the dynamics of the Russian regions, and it drives the inequality among Russian territories and regions. In order to solve the issues, it is necessary to identify the dominance of economic growth. Otherwise, the challenges we are facing now will endanger sustainable development of Russian regions. I would like also to say that I believe central government should focus on the major issues of a specific region. I have identified 5 major factors of influence, and you can see them on this slide: capital investment, capability building, human development index, and innovations. I came up to the conclusion that in order to decrease differentiation, public state government must focus on 3 areas. For example, it should focus on the determinants of growth in each growth. The influence should be on specific issues of a region, and moreover, we must take into account both general and specific problems of each region. So I believe that we should focus on the regions that are characterized by the lowest level of social differentiation. We can draw upon the practices of the European Union. The European Union pursues the so-called cohesion policy, which is designed to provide support and increase competitiveness of businesses in the regions with the lowest development level. To this end, we must identify the regions that require government support. I developed a typology of the Russian regions. This allowed me to take into account two performance indicators: GRP per capita and growth per capita. In order to be more accurate and more specific, I used the average data over the past 3 years, therefore between 2013 and 2016. I also developed a matrix. And in this matrix, each region has its own coordinates. On this slide, you can see how I calculated the coordinates. I took into account growth regional product per capita and the ratio between the growth regional product in the specific region to the average gross regional product. I believe that government should focus on the regions of F group. These regions are characterized by low growth, by low economic growth, and by low GRP per capita. Here you can see a map of the distribution of Russian regions. The regions with the lowest GRP per capita are in the Caucasus area and in the central area. At the same time, there are 2 out of 5 regions from the E group in the central area. This group is characterized by the average GRP per capita and low growth rate. If the trend persists, these 2 districts can be shifted to the F group. This typology is different from that one that is used in European Union. It takes into account the growth rate of economic development. Moreover, I used the data over the past 3 years. Therefore, I believe that the data provided here is quite accurate. At this point, the regions cannot develop or cannot provide steady economic growth without government support. I would like also to say that funds distribution in these regions must also take into account the development level of these regions. The companies that are working in these regions, the businesses from these regions, must be given priorities to those companies that operate in more economically developed regions. So I believe that the policy should be targeted in terms of regions and in terms of municipal regions. There is no official statistical data in Russia in terms of the gross municipal product. And I developed my own composite index that characterizes different municipal regions. I used the data over the last 3 years. Unfortunately, I did not have a full set of data, so sometimes I had to use the most relevant data. You can see the indicators that I used in order to develop the composite index. I also ranked municipal regions according to their socio-economic development. I focused on the municipal regions of this central area because they are characterized by the lowest economic development. Between 2013 and 2016, 5 regions were included in this group. And you can see the specific regions on this slide. You can see the municipal regions with the lowest level of socio-economic development. This data also allows us to assess interregional differentiation. It is necessary to come up with the development goals and main priorities in order to provide government support to these regions. Moreover, it is necessary to develop objective, accurate, and transparent criteria, inclusion criteria for businesses that will receive government support. I also have suggested a number of requirements that are to be met by the businesses which are supposed to get government support. Therefore, we see that there's a limited financial resource. There's also a crisis connected with the new pandemic and different other issues. So, state policy must make use of the resources that it has in order to provide support to the regions with the lowest socioeconomic development. Moreover, we shouldn't spend too much money when trying to eradicate socioeconomic inequality. This will allow us to use the resources efficiently. That would be all. Thank you very much. Let's proceed with our agenda. How would you like to answer the questions after each review or after all the reviews have been read? I suggest that you answer the questions after each review is read. Are there any external reviews? There are no external reviews. All the reviews have been published on the website of St. Petersburg State University. So I ask the members of the Dissertation Council to focus on the main ideas of your review. The floor is given to Professor Murat. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I believe that the topic is relevant. Now we are facing the pandemic, and this issue is becoming even more relevant. The research findings are valid and credible, and now I would like to focus on some novel ideas in the dissertation. First of all, I agree with the author in terms of the terminology base that he uses. I also believe that the empirical study that he has conducted is also quite valuable. He used the statistical data between 2013 and 2016, and he also developed a number of models. As a result, he comes to the conclusion that there is no absolute beta conversion among Russian regions. Therefore, public policies in this area are not effective. At the same time, the author suggests a number of recommendations. He highlights that this approach is important for assessing socio-economic development, and he also highlights that the typology of the regions are very important for assessing which of them needs government support. The author has also identified the main factors of economic growth, such as capital investment, human development index, capability buildings, and innovations. The author also suggests another recommendation, namely the balancing of the above-mentioned factors. He also says that it is necessary to identify unique determinants of growth for each region. However, I do not quite agree with the criteria that have an impact on socio-economic development. At the same time, the author is right when he says that there is no unified approach to key and additional determinants of economic growth. The author of the dissertation also points out that an effective influence on the growth factors is important. It is also important to identify key areas of growth for each region. However, he does not provide enough rationale behind this statement, and he doesn't specify what he means under efficient balance of influence. And he also highlights that it is quite challenging to identify major determinants of growth. The author has provided a number of useful recommendations designed to improve state regulation. I would like the author should be given credit for developing the typology of different regions. This typology can be used to change the territorial organization of Russia. The author identified the major areas of government support in each of the identified regions. However, it is not quite clear what the benefits of the author's approach are, as he does not compare his typology with the existing typologies. Moreover, it is not quite clear what the underlying principles of giving priorities to specific regions are. Moreover, the author says that it is necessary to change this spatial strategy until 2025. And I believe there is no rationale behind this statement. The author also writes about the necessity to change the territorial organization, and there is no enough rationale here. The author suggests taking into account the mistakes of the past. He also suggests identifying the so-called driving region. My question is, how do you take into account state regulation in this approach. Finally, I would like to say that the research findings can be used as recommendations for government authorities. Therefore, I believe that the questions and the comments about the dissertation do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. Of course, there are some inaccuracies in the dissertation. However, they are not serious, and I would like to stress again that I give an overall positive assessment of the dissertation. This is an independent and interesting research. The author has achieved the objective of the dissertation. The dissertation is relevant and novel. So the dissertation by Mr. Murat Makenov, State Regulation of Socio-economic Differentiation of Russian Regions, complies with the major requirements set forth in order as of the 1st of September 2016, number 6821/1, and Mr. Murat Makenov can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of economic sciences. The specialty is 080005 Economics and National Economy Management, Regional Economics. Thank you. I give the floor to the degree seeker. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your review. I give the floor to the degree seeker. Professor Universitetskaya, thank you very much. About the differentiation of the regions in order to conduct a convergent analysis. Thank you very much for this idea. I believe I could have grouped the regions according to the socio-economic development. However, in my dissertation, I grouped the regions according to their geography. But still, thank you very much for your idea. You also asked me about the major factors for economic growth. How did I come up with them? Well, I studied a number of research papers. I talked with a number of professors of St. Petersburg State University, and I also had my own ideas. I would like also to say that some of the ideas that I mentioned in the dissertation were proven during the empirical research. I believe that there is the so-called conditional convergence in Russia, and three factors turned out to be really important for the model, and this was proved by the empirical research. As for the effective balance, what do I mean here? The effective balance of influence means the impact of public authorities which provide maximum efficiency for the country and for the region. For example, if capability building or capital investment provide the highest economic efficiency, then public authorities should focus on these factors. And I believe that it is quite challenging to identify specific factors of growth for each region. Moreover, I'm sure that sometimes specific factors might have a bigger influence on the region than those identified in the dissertation. As for the typology, I would like to say that we can compare it with the common typology. I compared the typology when I was writing my master's degree paper, and it contains a table which compares my typology with those suggested by other researchers. So my doctoral dissertation is a continuation of the master's degree paper. Moreover, I found it important to come up with the purposes of the typology. The benefits of my typology are as follows. I use dynamic indicators. The typology is quite transparent. Moreover, I was able to focus on three practical aspects: to group regions according to their social and economic development, to identify regions with the lowest economic growth, and to identify specific groups of regions that can help us to change the territorial organization of the country. I believe that we can use other classifications as well, for example, the RIA rating classification. However, I believe my typology is the only one that allows us to focus on the practical application. As for the priorities for government support, I believe that regions with low economic development require infrastructure development. Moreover, unemployment rate is also quite high, and we must focus on providing support to businesses. The regions with the higher development, with the high economic development, are different. There we should focus on the areas that can provide the economic growth of the region itself and of the country on the whole. And I agree with you that I should have probably focused more on the analysis of statistical data. Going back to your first comment, I believe I will continue working in this area as you have suggested. The efficiency of state regulation was assessed according to the efficiency ranking. Are you satisfied with the answers? Yes, I'm quite satisfied with the answers. The floor is given to Professor Gauhar Koshebaeva. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, I will be quite brief. The topic of the research is really relevant for Russia and for Kazakhstan, the former Soviet republics. Kazakhstan is a former Soviet republic, and now Kazakhstan ranks ninth in terms of its territory. Therefore, the issue of territorial organization is relevant both for Russia and for Kazakhstan. So I would like to stress again that the topic of the dissertation is relevant. I would like to highlight that the last decade saw high competitiveness of economies on the global arena, and Russia should increase its competitiveness as well. Therefore, it is necessary to revise regional policies, as regional policies require closer cooperation between the federal government and regional authorities. Therefore, I believe that global competitiveness requires the competitiveness of a specific region. The Russian Federation is characterized by a unique territorial organization. It has a vast territory. It faces a number of economic challenges. Moreover, the regions are different in terms of their economic differentiation. Therefore, it is really challenging to write the dissertation on this particular topic. The dissertation has a traditional structure. The first chapter of the dissertation deals with the theoretical approaches to state regulation of socio-economic differentiation of regions. There he identifies the major challenges and approaches to the issue in question, and he also focuses on the theoretical fundamentals of the regional convergence. The second chapter includes information about the differentiation of Russian regions, their dynamics, problems and factors. He develops a number of models which allow him to identify the key issues and growth areas. The third chapter focuses on the areas for improving the state regulation of the interregional socio-economic differentiation in the Russian Federation. There he draws upon European practices as well, and he also comes up with a number of recommendations, with a number of practical recommendations. The research findings of the dissertation are valid and credible. They are proved by a large amount of theoretical works and legal documents. I believe that it is not necessary for me to focus on the novelty of the dissertation, as the degree seeker has already spoken about it. I would like to focus on the comments. The dissertation has a lot of benefits. However, I would like to make a few comments. The degree seeker writes, interregional differentiation is a specific case of the market failure. However, I do not quite agree with this statement. Probably we should take into account other factors, such as the geographical factors, the population density, and so on. Paragraph 1.3 is about the theoretical foundations of the regional convergence. There, the degree seeker writes about the hypothesis of beta convergence. He says that beta convergence requires the convergence of the regions in terms of their differentiation. I believe there is not enough rationale here. In paragraph 2.5, you did not write anything about cluster management. Moreover, I believe that you should have focused on the role of clusters for Russian regions. However, the comments and the questions that I have do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. I believe the research findings are quite valid, and this dissertation is an independent, complete research work. It provides a solution for a relevant issue, namely the issue of socio-economic differentiation. The dissertation of Murat Makenov, State Regulation of Socio-economic Differentiation of Russian Regions, complies with the major requirements set forth in the Order on the Procedure of Granting Academic Degrees of St. Petersburg State University, and Mr. Makenov can be awarded the academic degree of the Candidate of Economic Sciences. The dissertation is compliant with Section 11 of the above-mentioned order. The floor is given to Mr. Makenov. Thank you very much for your comments. You comment on my statements about market failure. I believe I should have mentioned that recent economic challenges also are instrumental for socio-economic differentiation of Russian regions. So this is not only about market failure, but this is also about different historical changes that took place. Right now, the inequality is also connected with the historical aspect. As for the convergence, or the theory of convergence, I would like to say that the neoclassical model of economic growth is relevant here. This model includes the exogenic and endogenic factors of economic growth. The major reason for convergence here is the fact that the capital does not play an important role anymore. Therefore, capital must flow from the developed regions to underdeveloped regions. As a result, we see the convergence of different regions. Now a few words about the cluster theory. I believe that clusters are important for regional development, and clusters can serve as the drivers of economic growth. Clusters allow for more effective cooperation between public authorities, businesses, and educational establishment. Secondly, clusters decrease transactional costs. Thirdly, clusters provide for effective cooperation balance, and moreover there are other benefits. Very often clusters are of innovative character, which also gives a benefit for regional development. Therefore, the development of clusters in underdeveloped regions can help solve the issue of interregional differentiation. And I believe that this is a prospective area of future research. Thank you. Professor Koshebaeva, are you satisfied? Yes, I am. The floor is given to Professor Malenkov. Please switch on the microphone. Dear colleagues, I will be brief since my review is published on the website. The dissertation is relevant, and I believe the topic is relevant for many countries. However, you cannot provide a comprehensive solution to this issue. We were not able to solve this issue in the past, and it is challenging. It's a challenging issue at the present. However, we should take steps and measures in order to try and solve this issue. So, the objective of the dissertation, the goal of the dissertation is really important and significant. He studied the statistical data and information regarding the inequality of regions of the Russian Federation. He made use of statistical analysis as well. As a result, he came up with valid research findings. So he came up with a typology of the regions. He developed the composite index of economic development in municipal regions. He also developed an approach to regulate economic differentiation of the region, and therefore I believe the research findings make an important contribution to science in general. The dissertation also has practical significance. The recommendations provided in the dissertation can be used in practice by different public authorities. I have a number of questions and comments. In paragraph 2.4, you speak about major factors of socio-economic development. How did you come up with this list of factors? Is it the list relevant for other regions as well? And moreover, you used the statistical data predating 2018, so probably you should have used more up-to-date data. How did you rank municipal regions? In table 29, you provided more economic indicators, including indicators that reflect the development of municipal regions. Unfortunately, you did not write in detail about them. And number 4, how digitalization methods can be used in your methods. So, my overall assessment of the dissertation is positive. The dissertation of Mr. Makenov complies with the major requirements set forth in order issued by St. Petersburg State University, and Mr. Makenov can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of economic sciences. The floor is given to the degree seeker. Thank you very much. I would like to comment about the factors of economic development. Professor Universitetskaya also asked a similar question, so I chose these factors after I talked with my research advisor, after I talked with a number of professors, and also I have studied the model of convergence, of beta convergence, and the factors were confirmed by the empirical research. Yes, I agree that each region might have its own development factors, and the relevance of these factors might fluctuate and might vary according to the specific region or according to the time period. Therefore, it is difficult to come up with the specific factors of economic growth. However, I believed it was necessary to focus on 5 major factors which are listed in the relevant, and in my opinion, the factors in my dissertation are the most relevant ones, since they can be applied to any region of the Russian Federation. As for the statistical information, it is not really up to date in my dissertation. However, I can say that there is a time lag in official statistics. Therefore, I use the statistics that was available. When it comes to the ranking system of the regions, I believe that the ranking was based on 7 performance indicators. All the indicators were analyzed and a private index was assigned to each index. 0 means that the municipal region is an outsider in terms of this indicator, and 1 meant that this municipal region was the leader according to this indicator. And the changes in the specific indexes also reflected the changes in the municipal region. After that, I calculated the composite index. Now a few words about the expansion of the major factors. I wanted my data to reflect the economic development. Right now, the official statistics provide information about the economic development. However, the official statistics is not full and accurate. However, the gross municipal product is really important, but the Office of National Statistics does not provide information about the gross municipal product. Therefore, I believe that this index is necessary in order to provide a comprehensive assessment of a municipal region. And your final comment about the digitalization methods. I believe that my major problem was that there was not enough statistical data. I believe that digitalization methods will allow us to increase the speed of analysis and to expand the number of statistical data that is available. I believe it would be interesting to develop a single digital platform to collect the statistical data from private and state-run companies with a subsequent big data analysis. This digital platform might also allow us to use the methods provided in the dissertation. Finally, I would like to say that the lack of official statistical data makes the research very challenging. Moreover, it makes it more difficult to assess the efficiency of state regulation. However, these available statistical data could allow us to assess the decision-making, the quality of decision-making in real time. That would be all. Are you satisfied with the answers? Yes, I'm quite satisfied with the answers, but not satisfied with the current situation. The floor is given to Professor Sharafanova. Dear colleagues, I will be very brief. Dear colleagues, can you hear me? Yes, that's okay. Dear colleagues, I will be quite brief because the review is posted on the website and a lot has been discussed already by the previous members of the Dissertation Council. I would like, however, to say that the dissertation is relevant. Russia is a vast country, and interregional differentiation poses a great security challenge and a great economic challenge. Mr. Makenov's dissertation is really interesting, and this is an independent research. It is novel as well. The dissertation is also well written, and I would like to say that the presentation was also well structured. The methods used in the dissertation are also quite novel, and I would like to highlight that the degree seeker is very good at using a wide range of analytical methods and modeling methods. He used these methods in line with his approach, and I believe that the methods are valid. The author also developed a beta convergence model and also came up with some forecasts. Up to 2025. I would like to say that the author should be given credit for the typology and for recommendations for changing the territorial organization of the Russian Federation. And I believe that we have had a very interesting discussion about the dissertation. Therefore, it proves that the dissertation is relevant and really high quality. Moreover, the dissertation opens new areas for research. However, I would like to ask a couple of questions and to make some comments about the dissertation. Number one, the dissertation takes into account that the decrease of regional differentiation is beneficial for the Russian economy, and it will provide for the sustainable development of Russia and regions. Can you think of any negative impact of low interregional and economic differentiation? And my second question, in paragraph 3.2, you focus on the adjusting of foreign practices to the Russian Federation. However, I believe that you did not focus enough on the Russian advanced practices in this area. So I believe that this is an independent research work. It is well written and it has a practical and theoretical significance. The dissertation of Murat Makenov, State Regulation of Socio-economic Differentiation of Russian Regions, complies with the major requirements set forth in order as of the 1st of September 2016, number 6821/1, and Mr. Murat Makenov can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of economic sciences. The specialty is 080005, Economics and National Economy Management, Regional Economics.
11 указанного порядка диссертантом не нарушен. Спасибо.
Спасибо, Ирина Евгеньевна. Значит, слово представляется для ответа Мурату Маратовичу, пожалуйста.
The floor is given to the degree seeker. Thank you very much for your comments. I would like to talk about the benefits of low economic differentiation. It is not always a benefit. What measures are taken in order to decrease socioeconomic differentiation? In my opinion, Russia has already come across some negative aspects because public authorities has taken some ineffective measures. Sometimes the low economic differentiation is not beneficial. We should also take into account the so-called May orders of the Russian president. They allow to decrease interregional differentiation in terms of human development capital and per capita income. But on the other hand, the May orders also contributed to the economic crisis of regions. Moreover, it is necessary to identify the reason for the decrease of economic differentiation. Sometimes the reason for it is the development of underdeveloped regions. However, if we see that the decrease in differentiation is due to the decrease in economic growth across the board, then it's difficult to talk about any benefits. The differentiation is not as pronounced, but it does not bring any benefits. You also asked about the Russian experience and the fact that I underestimated. I agree with your idea, and I will make use of this comment in my future research. Thank you very much. I would like to say a few words about the dissertation as well. My task is easier. I would like to highlight that I have a number of questions which I would like to ask. My first question is about the COVID-19 pandemic, which has long-term effects. The regions are implementing different measures to combat the pandemic and to provide sustainable development. Did you focus on interregional differentiation from the perspective of the pandemic? And how will this pandemic impact the interregional differentiation? Can you identify the major determinant of economic growth which should be changed in order to provide economic development, which of the determinants of growth are more sustainable in the future and in the long term. I believe that it is necessary to make use of international experience. Still, I believe that the dissertation contains too much and too detailed information concerning international experience. I believe this part of the dissertation could have been shorter. However, the dissertation of Mr. Murat Makenov complies with the major requirements set forth in order number 6821/1, and Mr. Murat Makenov can be awarded the degree of the candidate of economic sciences. So the floor is given to the degree seeker. Thank you very much for your questions. When it comes to interregional development, I did not focus on this issue in my dissertation. My dissertation was completed before the pandemic, and I mostly focused on interregional differentiation. How will the pandemic affect interregional differentiation? I believe it is impossible to come up with any forecasts until we have any specific statistical data. However, the pandemic had a negative impact on all regions of the Russian Federation. And we should assess which of the regions suffered most. In Russia, there are two risk groups. The first risk group is the regions which focus on fossil fuels. They suffered the most due to the low in prices. And there's another group of regions, the so-called central regions, Moscow and St. Petersburg, and some other major regions. These are at-risk regions because they had to resort to lockdown measures. As a result, medium and small business suffered most from these lockdown measures. So the pandemic had the biggest impact on the strongest regions of the Russian Federation. So if you asked me to make a forecast, I would like to say that there will be a decrease in interregional differentiation in terms of the gross regional product. But as for the investment, I believe there will be an increase in interregional differentiation. As for the major determinants of growth, they are capability building, innovations, human development capital, and a couple of others. Determinants of growth have an influence now, and they will have an influence in the short term. Each of these determinants of growth are instrumental. The most sustainable factor of economic growth for the country and for the region is the Human Development Index. Our skills, knowledge, and health are instrumental for sustainable development. It is the person that creates innovations and generates ideas and provides solutions to any problems. So I believe that the priority should be given to the human development index in Russia and in former Soviet republics. As for the comment about international experience, I agree with this comment. Thank you very much. I'm satisfied with the answers. Are there any questions that we received online? Now the floor is given to the research advisor, Professor Bezdenishnych. You're most welcome. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I would like to say that I am satisfied with the dissertation and with the presentation as well. A lot has been said today about the relevance of the dissertation, about the high quality of the research. I'm not going to reiterate. The dissertation is relevant and it is novel. Therefore, I would like to speak in more detail about the personality of the degree seeker. We have been working with Mr. Makenov for about 10 years. He was my student when he was a bachelor student. Then he continued his studies as a master's degree student, and then he got enrolled in a postgraduate course. So I evidenced his scientific growth. He didn't point out some ideas in the dissertation as he had written about them in his previous research. I would like to say that Mr. Makenov is able to write a well-written research, and he has a skill for analytical thinking. I believe that he's a person of integrity. He's very strict with meeting deadlines. He's a very single-minded person. I believe this is a very good quality. He had to take a break because new statistical data emerged, and he made new calculations in order to provide more accurate results. Secondly, I would like to say that he has a good scientific acumen. All the indicators, all the information provided in the dissertation is accurate. He calculated the indicators and then he made new calculated. If he lacked some information, he made everything possible to find this information. When new information emerged, he made new calculations. Moreover, I would like to say that Mr. Makenov continues the traditional school of thought of St. Petersburg State University and in other Russian universities. He is consistent with the traditional school of thought. He values the research works of the professors of the department, and he is very respectful to other scientists and professors. He gives credit to the scientists that made contribution to the science, and I believe that this is a very good quality for a young scientist. He believes that all the comments and the questions are really important, and he's planning to continue his research, and he's planning to write a PhD thesis. So you have quite an area for research in the future. I hope that in the near future Mr. Makenov will make some groundbreaking research. So I believe that Mr. Makenov can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of economic sciences.
Экономика и управление народным хозяйством, региональная экономика. Благодарю за внимание.
Спасибо, Татьяна.
Thank you very much. Some members of the Dissertation Council are attending this session via video conferencing system. Do you have any questions about the video conferencing regime? There are no questions. Since there are no questions, I suggest that we proceed with the agenda. Do we need to make a break before we cast ballots? Or do you think we do not need to make a break? Therefore, I suggest that we continue with the agenda. I will be asking each member of the Dissertation Council in turns. Professor Yelena Krastashevska, how do you vote? I vote for. Mr. Gauhar Koshabayeva, I vote for. Mr. Yuri Malenkov, I vote for. Mr. Elena Sharafanova, how do you vote? I vote for. And I also vote for conferring the academic degree. We are beginning the open voting on the issue of conferring the academic degree. The academic specialization is economics and national economy management, regional economics. The decision of the Dissertation Council is positive provided more than 50% of the Council members voted in favor. All members of the Dissertation Council voted in favor. So out of 5 members of the Dissertation Board, 5 members voted for conferring the academic degree. I would like to ask again if you have any questions about the remote regime of the session. So I would like to congratulate you on conferring the academic degree, and I give you the floor for your final remarks. So I will be brief. Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to thank my research advisor, Professor Tatiana Bezdenezhnych. She has been a long time with me. I would like to thank you for your interest. I would like to pronounce the formal phrase here. Mr. Murat Makenov is confirmed the academic degree of the candidate of economic sciences. Now please continue. Professor Bezdenezhnych, thank you very much for your valuable advice and for your comments. Thank you for your academic discussions. And thank you for agreeing to become my research advisor. My research advisor in the master's program was Professor Rodionov, and I would like to thank him a lot. I would like to thank the professors of St. Petersburg State University and also the professors of Kraganda Technical University. Thank you for your patience and thank you for the knowledge and the skill that I have. I'm really grateful to you. I would like to thank the chairperson and the members of the Dissertation Council, as well as the administration of St. Petersburg State University, for allowing me to take part in this procedure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the end of the session. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Please switch off the broadcast.